Ragnar stepped off the small plane and breathed in the fresh air of his grandfather's village. Pak Wirio greeted him at the airport with a warm smile and a hearty laugh, holding a sign that read, "Welcome Ragnar." As they drove through the countryside, Ragnar couldn't help but marvel at the beauty of the green fields and blue skies. His grandfather's laughter filled the truck as they shared stories along the way. Finally, they arrived at the village. The open fields stretched endlessly, and the distant mountains painted a beautiful backdrop. Neighbors waved cheerfully as they passed, and Ragnar felt a warm sense of belonging. The next morning, Ragnar and his grandfather headed to the river. A serene river surrounded by lush greenery. Ragnar sits beside his grandfather on a bamboo raft, holding a fishing rod and looking curiously at the water. "Fishing takes patience," Grandpa explained. "Just wait and enjoy the calmness of the river." Ragnar's eyes widened as he felt a tug on the line. With his grandfather's guidance, he reeled in his first catch, a shiny, wriggling fish. Bursting with excitement, Ragnar ran to his grandfather, holding the fish high. "I did it, Grandpa. Look at this," he exclaimed, his face glowing with joy. His grandfather laughed and patted him on the back, proud of his grandson. By the edge of the field, Ragnar and Grandpa stood next to the old, sturdy tractor. With excitement, Ragnar climbed onto Grandpa's lap, gripping the wheel. The engine roared to life, and the tractor began plowing the field. Ragnar laughed joyfully, savoring every moment. On their way home, Ragnar and Grandpa walked through the quiet forest. The sunlight filtered through the trees, and the sound of rustling leaves filled the air. Suddenly, a large bear appeared not far from where Ragnar and Grandpa were walking. They froze for a moment, the bear's massive form towering among the trees. Grandpa whispered calmly, holding Ragnar close, as they carefully backed away. Without warning, the bear charged toward them, leaping with a fierce roar. Grandpa quickly pulled Ragnar into his arms, shielding him tightly. "Close your eyes, Ragnar," he whispered, his voice steadied despite the danger. Just as the bear lunged, a strange light surrounded Ragnar and his grandpa. In the blink of an eye, they vanished, leaving the bear swiping at empty air. In an instant, Ragnar and Grandpa found themselves standing in front of their house, still holding each other tightly. Ragnar looked up, confused but relieved, as Grandpa smiled and said, "We're safe now." With a puzzled expression, Ragnar thought to himself, "Is this the story Mom used to tell me before bed? And all this time, was Grandpa the hero she spoke of?" That night, Mom called Grandpa. Ragnar wasn't paying much attention to their conversation, his mind lost in the quiet stillness of the evening. The soft hum of the phone call faded into the background, leaving him with thoughts of the day. Grandpa told Ragnar that tomorrow he would take him home. "Your mom misses me," he said with a smile. Ragnar nodded, feeling a mix of sadness and anticipation. His time at the village was coming to an end. Early the next morning, Grandpa and Ragnar set off for the airport. Grandpa was behind the wheel, his hands steady on the steering wheel. Ragnar sat quietly beside him, the road ahead feeling both long and short at the same time. On the way, a massive tree had fallen across the road, blocking their path. "There is no way that this tree can be cleared by authority in one day." Grandpa glanced at Ragnar with a grin and asked, "Wanna try once more?" Ragnar's face lit up as he cheered, "I want to do it, Grandpa." Ready for whatever came next. Grandpa and Ragnar stepped out of the car and into the forest, the air thick with the scent of earth and leaves. They walked deeper, searching for a quiet spot, away from the world, where they could do what Ragnar wanted to experience again. Once they reached the spot, Grandpa hugged Ragnar tightly. "Close your eyes," he whispered. "Open them when I tell you." And just like that, they vanished, gone with the wind. Suddenly, Ragnar and Grandpa found themselves in a park near Ragnar's house. The world around them felt familiar, yet something had shifted, as if time had folded in on itself, bringing them back to where it all began. Grandpa took Ragnar's hand, walking him up to the house. With a soft smile, he whispered, "What you've experienced with me, don't tell anyone. It could cause trouble." He trusted Ragnar, believing in the goodness of his heart. "What happened today is your mama's plan. Remember the huge tree which blocked the road? She did that." Grandpa smiled. Ragnar looked up at Grandpa, his heart full. "Thank you for everything, Grandpa," he said, thinking of all they'd shared, from fishing, riding the tractor, plowing the fields, and, even teleporting. "I'll never forget it. And I promise I will keep the secret to myself. Grandpa can count on me."